the one thing like we talk about a ton, especially in the early practices here, is hey guys, like don't get me wrong, like it's supposed to be fun, like it's supposed to be enjoyable, all that stuff. But doing the things that winning requires, it's not a ton of fun. Winning is fun. Like winning's a ton of fun, but like doing the things that winning requires, not a ton of fun. Like it's not a ton of fun. And then you'll get used to it and all of a sudden it'll be better and just like you get used to anything, but when you're first starting to carve out those habits and those standards, like it's going to make you question of just like this is not super enjoyable. And it's just like, no, it's not. Like, but you guys said you wanted to win. Like, do you want to win or do you not want to win?
Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. Today we're joined by the head men's basketball coach at McMurry University, Matt Bolton. Coach Bolton is in his first season at McMurry. Prior to joining McMurry, Coach Bolton served as head men's basketball coach at University of the Ozarks, where he achieved consistent improvement in win totals, developed 2 1,000-point scorers, and coached 7 all-conference selections. The 2024-2025 season was the best the Ozarks had seen since 2005. Coach Bolton played college basketball at Cayuga College. If you're interested in pressure, no middle defense, then this talk is for you. Before we hear from Coach, take a moment to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on social media at JAMODI Podcast.
The JAMODI Podcast is powered by Sideline Interactive. Sideline Interactive is the leading manufacturer for high-quality, innovative scoring tables and LED video display boards that help coaches and schools bring more excitement to fans, create huge fundraising opportunities, and make their jobs easier. Visit sidelineinteractive.com to check out their amazing products.
Well, Coach, tell me how your fall's going right now.
No, it's been good. It's been good trying to get settled in. New job, set the standards with a new program. Me and my staff have talked about it a ton of like the last place we were at. We were just getting to year 3 and year 4 and a program full of like our guys and our standards. And then, you get a great opportunity to come to McMurry. So it's a no-brainer, but then you reset and you don't realize some of the stuff that you're going to have to like reinstill. And it's just stuff that you take for granted in terms of having guys that I've been yelling at them for the same stuff for 2 years and like they know me. And now it's just completely ground zero, and this program didn't have a ton of returners coming back, which is good and bad. I'm not the easiest guy to play for. So it's not the end of the world when it's not a ton of guys coming back from a different program, but we got about 6 returners from the previous coaching staff here. And I want to say 5 guys transferred over with me from my last place. And then
Helps. Yeah.
10 new guys. So it's just,
Wow.
we're just figuring it out.
Coach, I'm so thankful that you and I are getting to do this because I feel like I'm going to be able to learn a lot from you. We're going through almost identical journeys right now, except for the fact that I didn't bring anybody down from my previous school, Grapevine Faith Christian School, to Midway in Waco. None of them followed me. But yeah, being there for 12 years and you take for granted that culture is passed down. You kind of mentioned your guys. You take for granted the fact that you have these kind of torch bearers each year. And if it's done, in my opinion, correctly or tried to be done correctly, they pass it down. And we are co-creators, but man, it's just a machine that kind of keeps going. You got to fight for it daily, of course, but man, to come into a place where I love the previous coach that was at Midway, Coach McDade was an amazing guy, but we're different. And me being the only one knowing what it's been like, and trying to shape the vision, but then go through that. You nailed it. Everything that I took for granted of, man, this is just how we've been doing it. It's brand new, and that can be challenging.
No, for sure. And I mean, I've loved having some of my guys that came with me, but it's created another, not problem, but another thing to think about in terms of like, we'll be in practice and, I'll catch myself getting frustrated about something. Hey, that's just not how we do. That's not our standards, man. Like, that's just not how we do things. And then I'll catch out of the side vision of one of my guys who was with me last year. And I'm like, oh man, he's getting frustrated. He's getting frustrated. So I almost got to go talk to some of those guys that have been with me. And it's good. It's a good reminder for myself, but it's also, I got to remind them like, hey, like we're getting there. Like, don't get frustrated because again, we're like stuff I just took for granted of that's just what we do. That's not what we do. Like, cause it's a new, just an extremely new group.
You find yourself struggling to coach your guys that came over, uh, almost in a different way than your new guys, and, you kinda said you catch yourself getting frustrated with them, but maybe even holding them to different standards than the newer guys or vice versa. How's that going?
Yeah. Like I don't think I've had a problem coaching them differently, but trying to coach them up on how to coach other guys up. Because like I got some guys who are just like a little bit like me in terms of just blunt and like, hey man, you gotta be better. You can't do that. If you're gonna do that, you just can't. You can't be here. And I'm just like it's the second practice, man. Like he doesn't know. Like he's gotta learn. And trying to coach
Got
them
4
up.
more months of this.
Yeah, like coach them up a little bit of like, hey, like
Yeah,
they'll learn. And
man, that's good.
with
Yeah.
that being said, like some of the new guys that haven't been with me, like those guys trying to figure out how to coach each of them individually too is different because like I'm a big believer in the whole like you coach everybody the same, but it's also just not the case in terms of how you communicate with guys. Like we try to hold everybody to the same standard. Like everybody, if you the expectations are the same, but you have to be like you have to have some emotional intelligence when you communicate with guys. Some guys just can't handle being just, lit up or something like that in front of the rest of the team. Like some guys you do that and you lose them for the rest of the practice. And I talked to the guy who coached me in college, and if I said that to him, he'd be like, "Well, he's too soft to be a part of your program anyway." Like if that's how soft he is, coach, like I'm just like, "Yeah, like but it's just, you got to go with the punches a little bit there. But it's been good having those guys with me. I think schematically even more so than maybe like culture wise, because they've really helped because we're gonna run similar stuff as to what we did, and so they've helped schematically. Culture wise, it's a daily thing. Like I think John Gordon said something I've got written down somewhere. If it's not culture's not who you are, it's what you do. Like it's what you do every second of every day. Them having a new school now, like new classes and stuff, it's like figuring out how to build the culture again. Cause it's a different place, different everything.
With those returners that you have, I was just thinking about, again, the similarities with our situations. I'm so thankful for the 5 seniors that I've inherited here, and they're doing a really good job of accepting me and being open to something new. But what was your not advice, what advice would you give me, but what was your strategy on those 6 returners that have been coached by someone else, but now they're yours? How did you initially start building that relationship, and how's that going?
Yeah, I mean it's going well. For me, like I said it earlier, I'm not for everybody. And it's just like I think if you are for everybody, it's a problem. So it's just like kind of understanding who you are, that you're not going to be for everybody. And that's kind of how I approached with the returners from the first meeting after they asked me to come down and interview, and then I got the job. And the first meeting I think I might have probably said that of just like, hey fellas, like I'm not for everybody, and like that, and that's okay. But like you guys got to figure that out. And I'm just like I'm gonna hold everybody to an extreme standard, and that's just how I've done things, but not necessarily giving them an out, but almost just telling them like, guys, like I'm not the easiest guy to play for. And I think we're going to do things drastically differently than what have been done here before, just in terms of some standards and schematically, like how we're going to play and stuff. So like figure out if you're about it or not. And then if you're not, let's have a conversation, and I'll help you, find another place or something like that. But like, once you're in it, like I'm not changing. And I think that helped. Like I think that helped in terms of those guys just understanding like what I was about. We talk about in the recruiting process a ton of trying to be extremely transparent with guys. There's so much fluff out there. Like we try to be super transparent. Well, at the same time, like selling our product, but like trying to be extremely transparent with recruits throughout the process and really pushing them to do the same, like with us. I tell almost every recruit when they leave my office of just like, hey, in 2 weeks, if you find out like McMurray's just not it for me, or you get this other offer, text me and tell me you're not coming. I'm not gonna be mad at you. Like but I want the transparency. So I've tried to carry that over And it's been good. There's been some learning curves, but again, only having six guys from the previous staff, like, it's easier to have those one-on-one conversations with them.
True. Yeah. No, I think that's really good advice, and I probably needed to hear that a little bit, especially the fact that if you're trying to be for everybody, there's gonna be some missteps there. You're gonna compromise in some place. You're gonna maybe stop being your authentic self, and at that point, I don't know, I think kids are smarter than that. I think they can smell a phony or see a phony, and I was just trying to think of is that been my approach, in the first 2.5 months at Midway? I don't think so. Like, I feel like I've been myself and trying to take standards that really work everywhere, but give them ownership of it as well. Trying to be conscious of the fact that those older players, like I had my college experience was 3 years with one guy and then my senior year with Coach Drew. And so I had a very different experience, very polar opposite coaches. So trying to be conscious of all of that, but then also don't want to get in my head so much that I'm almost second guessing or not being myself. I think, but that not for everybody part. I think that's a good nugget.
That I struggled with it early. Like, I'm young, like, I'm a super young head coach still, but my first year as a head coach, like, I lost some guys quit, and I remember, like, really emotionally struggling with it. Like, what am I doing wrong? Like, why would they want to quit? Or, like, is there something I could have done? Did he need more reps in practice? Or, like, what's the deal? 3 or 4 guys who I'll talk to that are in the industry, and they all told me the exact same thing. And it was kinda just a blunt, like, "Hey, get used to it, dude. Like, you're gonna lose guys every year. Everybody does." Like, almost like it's a problem if you don't worry about it, but also, like, don't worry about it.
That's a tough balance right there.
Yeah. It's weird. Yeah, you have to almost not be worried about losing guys, but you still gotta value the guys, So it's just it
Yeah.
is weird.
I kind of tell myself, like, I'm not going to be surprised by things anymore. And yet every year, coach, that's different. That's new. I'm surprised by something. And 19 years in it for me, and I'm still learning and making mistakes and trying to get better. And hopefully through that process, then my players see that and they kind of take on that approach of that growth mindset too. You nailed it with the culture piece. It's not instant and it's going to take a lot of time and it's not just something that you say or a good slogan on the wall or on a t-shirt. It's what you do every day.
It's a learned response. Like, it's a learned response. We talk about that a ton with I'm a defensive guy. That's just what I've been about, and, like, defense is a learned response, like, responding to some sorta, like, cue on the court, and, I mean, we say that with culture too, like, it's a learned response, like, how you deal with adversity or how you do anything, but it takes years, and it's not bad, but it stinks to say because it's just like, me and you too, like, just started. It's like we got a while.
How do you fight that? How do you fight that feeling of like, man, I feel like it should be better now. Like I feel like we're moving and doing some good things. And it's kind of funny when you're in this position of for years, I've been telling kids about delayed gratification and the process and how long does it take, coach, for me to become a better shooter? I don't know. It takes what it takes. Like you keep putting in the time. And here I find myself like, hey, it's week 7, week 8. We should be training faster. We should be celebrating more. We should be having more fun. But then it takes what it takes, I guess.
I don't know. If you figure it out, you have to tell me.
That's right.
I mean, I guess just kinda going back to, like, I try to go back to, like, some core standards and stuff, like, have something written down that I can go back and look at to just remind me.
Yeah.
We actually did something. I'm not big on, like, the team team building in terms of, like, doing activities and stuff like that. Like, I'm a big fan of, like, let's get the guys together and do some really hard stuff, like conditioning and weights and stuff, and, like, let's just get them in the same room as much as we possibly can and, like, let them figure it out. I'm not as big on, like, the doing organized stuff, but we did something this year, and it's helped me a little bit in terms of, like, we had everybody come up with a word that was gonna be, like, their word for the year. It was something I took from,
John Gordon.
yeah, You Win the Locker Room First is the book.
Yep.
Him and, the old Falcons coach, I forgot his name.
About that.
but wicked good book. And in that they talked about it, and just a word that could like bring you back to what you were thinking about for the season. And whether it's consistency or a guy putting nails because he wants to be tough as nails or something like that. And so that's helped me a little bit in terms of what am I gonna go back to and be about. Shoot, I got them printed out, like put them up somewhere so you can see them. But like,
So you got their words printed out
no,
and you're gonna
so
put them up somewhere?
we put
Okay, or that's
their
yours.
words up outside our locker room. We got their words up.
Nice.
These are mine. These are for me. And so I
Okay.
gotta get these up on like the wall or something like that over here so I can see them. Um, but I guess that's my strategy for this year, to try to like come
Yeah.
back to those words or sayings or something like that to remind me. And then the good thing for me, and probably for you too, is like I do have my recent success at my last place to kind of look at to see like, hey, like it works. Like but you got to build it. Like it works, but you can't. You can't skip stairs. Like you can't skip steps.
It's a great point, and I think you're talking about, like, the way we want our players to maintain and keep their confidence. I think we have to do this in this transition time, is remind ourselves of the good things we've done, the success with players, the coaching paychecks that we've had, which is the text from a player 5 or 6 years later saying, "Man, I get it now. Thank you for what you said and did, even though I didn't look like I was in it at that time." We gotta be reminding ourselves of it. And I'm hope coach, I want you to know, and I hope everybody listen, it's not going poorly. I'm enjoying the process here. Things are good, but I have been feeling that, and even from the summer of, oh wow, for the first time in 12 years, there's nothing in place. And starting over is a fun challenge, but it's different than I thought it was going to be. And I love that. I think the words that you're talking about and those reminders, man, we probably got to have those on the mirror by our, in our bathroom, like Rocky, and just for be reminding ourselves every day.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. Like I think same thing for us. Like it's going really well. And it's just like you're rebuilding a program and starting from scratch, you almost feel like there should be like some shortcuts you can take of like, hey, like we already did this once. Like, could we teach this a different way or implement this? And we're better at it. Like our stuff, like our standards, like whether it be our academic stuff or how we're doing conditioning, we are better at implementing it than we were at our last place. But what we found is like it's not going any faster. Like we're better at implementing it in terms of there's less like hiccups or less whatever, but it's still going to take just as long. I mean, I don't remember who said it to me when I first got the job at Ozarks where I was. Of they told me like, hey, it won't be yours for like 2 or 3 years. Like it won't be like yours, and I didn't understand it until I did it, and it was like, it's true. Like it wasn't really mine until like 3 years in, and it's like, all right, now everybody who's here has heard the same recruiting speech in the office, has heard the same speech about how we're going to do things or run practice or whatever. There's no skipping the process or the time of it.
There's not, and you nailed it. I have a glimpse of what you're talking about with my 8th period. It's when our freshmen come in, and it's just them by themselves with me and my 2 assistant coaches, and we're basically mirroring what we're doing in the morning with the older players, sophomores, the JV and varsity, but then it's interesting watching both groups take the same ideas and the same drills and try to implement the same culture, but these guys are so new and fresh with nothing to compare it to that there's an extra level of buy-in, and maybe they're just their youth that they're just eating it up. And so it's kind of like it's good for me to see that every day because I mean that just think of 2 or 3 years or 4 years of groups like that. And but it's like I have to remember that, yeah, that's how it was at Faith, that it took 4 or 5 years for everybody to feel like this is our program, including myself. But just all these reminders that I gotta keep telling myself and not to get frustrated. Let me ask you a question. How do you keep from going too fast where you are, from pushing past where maybe you should stay for a little bit longer?
I don't even know if it answers the question, but my big thing is like almost always working on like the same basic stuff. Shoot, I don't remember who it was, but it was a football coach. I was watching the interview and he said something about how everybody talks about after the big loss. They talk about like, well, we just got to get back to the basics this week. We got to get back to the basics. And he's like, you hear that all the time. If the basics are so great, then why do people ever leave them? Like, why don't you just stay with it forever? And so like for us, I'm trying to not go too fast by just consistently preaching the same thing all the time. And like, so like culture of like, our timeliness and how we communicate with each other and stuff like that of just not wavering at all in how I, like enforce that type of stuff. And then basketball wise, we try to kind of introduce what we're going to do and then just work on it day after day after day and just kind of never leave it. Obviously, we got to leave it and teach new stuff, but for the majority of our practices, they kind of look the exact same. I had a moment at the end of one of our practices the other day. I heard somebody ask one of my assistants, like, when are we going to like get up and down? Like, when are we going to like scrimmage or something like that? And I was just like, man, we're weeks away from that. And also, just so you guys know, I hope you guys don't think there's some magical day coming where it's like, hey, we're not going to do these breakdown drills anymore. We're just going to play 5-on-5 the whole time. This will be the rest of the year. And if you stay here for 4 years, this will be for 4 years. We will be doing this stuff. Like, so if you don't like it, like, hey, like that's get right or get left.
Not for everyone.
Yeah, like
You're not for everyone. Yeah.
So I mean, that's how I've tried to not go too fast. Is just like
Yeah.
continuing to preach the same stuff, the simple stuff, I guess. The simple stuff every day, like all the time. I think.
Does answer it. No, that's good. Yeah. Yeah. That's helpful for sure. Man, I heard what did you say? You had a very northern term, or said something, uh, not wicked, not something, maybe it was wicked
It might
or
have been wicked.
it was about the book. It was about the book. You
Yeah,
called it
wicked.
something
No,
and
wicked good book.
yeah, so I was like, that's all right. That's some northern right there. I'm from Pennsylvania originally, so
Oh heck yeah!
that
Where in
just made me laugh.
Pennsylvania?
Man, I lived in Berwick, Pennsylvania, all the way till I was 14. It's about 2 hours north of Wilkes-Barre, or no, sorry, north of Philly by Wilkes-Barre.
Heck
Berwick
yeah!
football, man, it's big time.
So I went to Cuca College for 2 years.
I saw that
I
actually.
played
Yeah.
basketball there, and we were in the NEAC at the time,
Okay.
which doesn't even exist anymore. It's called the United East now. But we played a ton of games with so we'd go play Penn Tech. They were in our league. Penn State Abington, Penn State Berks.
What was Bloomsburg? Do you remember Bloomsburg? Was that was a school around us,
They're
or
Division
Wilkes or
two.
King's College, Kings, something one of those. But
Penn State
I didn't know if that.
Wilkes-Barre.
Yeah.
I know they're good.
Okay.
And then my
Yeah.
first boss, yeah, my first boss. He just got the head coaching job at Keystone, so he's at
Nice.
Keystone College
Nice.
now.
Yeah, very cool. Well, man, love the questions that you chose, but like you kind of already seen, they're just a roadmap for me if I want to go somewhere, but I love how it's already flowed. So I'd love to know a little bit of daily habits for success for you. And it's probably things that you've already been doing, but especially when you're taking over a new place, what are some of those things that set you up for success each day?
Yeah, I think it's like a couple different, like twofold of focusing on like the small things. Like another, again, like I might reference John Gordon a ton because I love his stuff. But in one of his books, he talks a ton about focusing on the root, not the fruit. And like if you focus on the root, like you'll have enough fruit. And like so that's big for us in terms of focusing on relationships with the guys, which I think I fall short of sometimes in terms of like
Mhm.
connecting with them enough. When I was a GA at Ohio and the men's basketball team did something interesting there. They had like touch points, and it was every coach had to like get a touch with a guy throughout the day. And it's easy when you have, 7 coaches or whatever on staff, but they would go and get a touch with each guy like every day, whether it's just, having a conversation with them or eating lunch with them or something like that, and trying to just keep them engaged. And we've tried to do stuff like that, but it's a struggle. Daily habits in terms of just like reinforcing what we're about and just preaching it like constantly. Every time I see a guy, trying to be the same guy every time they see me. Because I think, and I've seen it as when I was an assistant or a GA or even when I was a player, how it can be like very defeating for a player to, you see coach at, 8 a.m. and he daps you up and gives you a hug and asks you how your day is going. And then you see him at 4 and he wants absolutely nothing to do with you. And he doesn't like, well, why aren't you in the gym getting shots up? Like, what are you doing? And so like trying to remind myself to try to be the same guy like every time these guys see me because that builds trust. We talk a ton in our program about trust in terms like I can only play the guys I trust. Like if I don't trust you to do the right thing out there, like I can't put you out there. And if I don't trust you to go to class and stay eligible, like I'm gonna have to recruit over you or something like that. And how the guys I trust are the ones who are gonna like make it. And so I think that consistency in like who I am builds trust with them. So like I try to remind myself of that when I walk around and talk to them. And then other than that, I mean like recruiting, like trying to recruit. I mean Pat Kelsey at Louisville said something I love. He said recruiting's like shaving. If you don't do it every day, you're gonna end up looking like a bum. It's like we have that up on the wall in my assistant coach's office. And like we talk about that a ton of just like, hey, every day we gotta be recruiting, whether it's reaching out to guys we already talked to or trying to find somebody new. Go find that diamond in the rough in nowhere, Wyoming, who has nothing else going on. Like go find them. So like I think those are the daily habits that lead into other things, but like some sort of culture thing, and then recruiting.
I love that. Now, great reminders about the getting those touch points with players, and I would imagine with how busy your coaching staff is and your guys are throughout the day, that is tough. But I just think being intentional, you may be scheduling it because if you hope it happens, coach, I don't know how much in basketball or anything in life really goes well off of just hoping. Right, that you somehow see a player at the right time, or that he walks past your door when you've got a second. But I think we schedule those, and then great nugget on trust. I think we talk so much about how players we can start trusting them by them being consistent, but I don't know how often we think about it the other way around. The trust that we are building or destroying with them by being inconsistent every day.
Yeah. I mean, and I think showing them that you care about them outside of basketball is huge, but everybody says that. I think it's hard to do without like seeing them outside of basketball and then being consistent in like in my messaging with them of something that I think it was Greg Popovich talked about was that he talked about how much they would talk about things that aren't basketball related. Like letting guys know there's bigger things. Like there's bigger things than basketball. And like we still gotta hold them accountable and all that stuff, but almost letting them know of like, hey, there's stuff out there that I know is more important than what we're doing. And like making that more grounded for the guys to understand that coach is a human being, like as well.
How are you with that? How are you with making time to talk about things other than basketball? Is that easy for you, natural, or do you have to be pretty conscious of it?
No, I think I have to be very intentional about it. Also, I mean, and I think I'm getting better with it, I think. But like I remember stuff and like I joke around with my guys that I hold grudges. Like if you mess something up in a game or practice, like the next time I see you, like that's the first thing I think of. Like I got guys who are with me from my last school and we'll be talking about something. Like I have an instant flashback to, at St. Thomas in Houston last year. And like, yeah, and you didn't take the corner away when he drew. And then it's hard for me to get,
Coach, let it go.
I know,
It was 5 years
no,
ago.
seriously, but no, I got to be pretty intentional. I try to talk about what I'm doing. Like at the moment, like we had weights at 6, at 5, and I had 3 or 4 guys come in my office before it. And I remember I was trying to think about be intentional, talk about something not basketball, and we chit chatted about I'm trying to get my Bermuda grass to come in thicker on my front lawn, and it's like that's silly. Like that's none of those guys care about that, but just throw something out there that's not basketball. I think I'd be lying if I said like, nah, it just comes down, it just flows. Like I got to think about it.
Which I appreciate you sharing that because I'm the same way. Two things. The lawn, completely interested in that. because I had St. Augustine grass at my last house, and for 5 years, there was this bare spot underneath this tree that with the shade and its roots sucking the water out, I could not get grass to grow there. It was my nemesis. I mean, and I was researching things. I'm putting stuff down on the grass, like, so I understand the struggle, and I appreciate that. If you were around me and you were talking about that, I'd be all in on, okay, what's the pH level of the soil? We got to figure that out. Like, but the other thing is I, I want to talk to them about other things, but I think I'm kind of boring. And I say that, like, as I'm 43 now, this is my hobby. Because like some coaches they golf or they do things like besides working out and hanging out with my beautiful bride, I don't really do anything else. And we watch Survivor or Big Brother. Like it's kind of those two shows. So I don't know. I gotta get more well-rounded. I gotta figure out things to talk about, I guess, like the lawn.
No, I'm with you. I joke about it with the guys, but it's not a joke. Like I really don't have much of a work-life balance. Like I kind of do McMurry men's basketball constantly. And I think it's a huge advantage because it's like, when you're building a program, it takes a lot and all that stuff, but also like I agree, like I'm not interesting. Like I got the same thing to talk about.
I like that idea of just balance. And how do you do that? Just fit things in where you can and make it work.
And it's hard because then, I hear stuff, I'll see something on social media that I remember from like months ago that it was some guy talking about, it was like a former Olympic swimmer talking about how everybody who's great at something, they're nuts. Like they're a little different. And he said greatness and insanity are neighbors and they borrow each other's sugar. And he was just like, if you're gonna be great at something, like you got to be a little different. And it's like that's true, but also like I got to get a little bit of a better work life balance.
No doubt. But then here's how I think we make that work with our players, and especially high school players. I had an AD tell me this one time when I was in the office having the same conversation that every coach has at some point, which is they don't care enough. They're not working hard enough. They don't want it as bad as we do. And he said, Matt, you got to remember, like, we're the weird ones, not them. And I think so. My goal is to have my players care an appropriate amount. And appropriate for them is they're teenagers. Most of them don't want to play in college. It's their game. It's not their job like it's my job. The college level, yeah, there's a difference there. There's a level of professionalism and at some levels, literally money
Mhm.
that is a part of it. But to remember that we're the weird ones or how close we are to insane, I think that's good.
Yeah, they can't care more than you. Like if they care more than you, that's a problem in of itself probably. But I do think that it's like I fall into that same trap of just like, why don't you guys care as much as me? And it's like, well, maybe at the end of the day, they probably shouldn't. And that's also I think why the ones who do, they stand out so much. Like that one guy I had 10 years ago, man, if I just had a team full of him. And it was like, yeah, but he's one in, 100.
Right. That's right. Tobin Anderson a few years ago when he was making his big run and such a fun time seeing him all over all the interviews and stuff. He mentioned the 22 and 2. And I thought that was such a great idea of he wants his players for 2 hours of the day to be all about basketball. Nothing else matters, nothing else exists. But he said for the other 22 hours, don't even think about it. And I thought, I wonder like if that's if that could be possible, and if that was the message, would we have players that show up to practice with a renewed mind every day? Would they be less stressed? Would they be more excited to come because they haven't been, you know, doing it those other 22 hours or us like wanting them to watch film on their own or whatever like we do. Hey, I checked your huddle. You haven't been on there in a couple days, Like I think that 22 and 2, I haven't enforced that or talked about that with the team, but I do think it might help this balance that we're talking about.
Yeah, and it's also I think it's team to team. Like, team to
Yeah.
team, group to group. We talked as a team, I think our last practice for the last year at Ozarks, it was the first year that I had a real strategy about how I wanted to kind of set practice up in terms of like they talk about getting ready for sleep. Like put your phone away, turn stop eating or something like that. I wanted to have a way
Yeah.
that we prepped before the warm up even starts. And I saw, some guy at I think the NABC convention talking about how he puts music on, he makes it very loose during the first 20 minutes of practice because he wants to. And the main thing that stuck with me was he wants it to be it should be the best 2 hours of their day. Like they shouldn't be coming in thinking about like, man, am I gonna get yelled at for this or that? Like it should be the best like 2.5 whatever hours of their day. And I had a very tight, very, I don't know, hostile might be the word, like a very just rigid group of guys who like we had multiple guys who, wanted to play professionally and they had that professional tightness to them and we had to like loosen it up. And so like we played some music and we're a little looser the first 30 minutes and it was great. And then I see with this team I have this year, like, I don't know if the speaker's coming out anymore. Just because, like, it's almost like we need to harp on,
Zero fun, sir.
yeah, like, we have to harp on little things to get us to that locked in level.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
things can get loose. Yeah, but we have to almost get over that hump of, like, getting locked in and getting ready to go. And then we can get a little looser towards the end of practice. It changes with every team. But the balance piece of it, like us wanting guys to be in the gym and work and do the things that it takes to get better without burning guys out, I guess. Like I have a love-hate relationship with even that term, like burning people out at the college level, because it's just like, it's what you came here to do.
Welcome to the Ballology app Ultimate Demo. Trusted by leaders in the game. Ballology is a player development platform built for coaches and players alike. You can expect live shot tracking, workout libraries, and AI insights. You can easily chart team shooting drills in practice or in training sessions. Track all of those shots using an iPhone or an Android device in real time. You can view your team's performance through a video archive or by using our shot charts. After every shooting workout, take a look at your breakdown by viewing your percentages and your shot locations. Let's take a deeper look to learn how to make the most out of the Ballology app. Let's see how you measure up in the Ballology Skills Assessment, where you can test your shooting skills versus other shooters worldwide. Navigate to Ballology AI, where you can ask any question to get answers in real time for smarter training.
Make that footwork a little more sharp.
Coaches or players can create custom workouts in just minutes. Hit your on-court skills or basketball IQ or even strength and conditioning. It can be done on the Ballology app. Compete with everything you do on the Ballology app through our workout leaderboards. Elevate your game with the Ballology app. Download it for free today.
I don't think it's a real thing. I think yes, everybody gets this feeling of, man, do I really want to keep doing this? Like I always give the example of ice cream. I love mint chocolate chip ice cream. I could eat it every night if my wife would allow me to buy it. She doesn't. And so I don't. But let's just say I've been eating it for 2 weeks straight. There's going to come a point where I'm like, golly, another gallon of mint chocolate chip ice cream. And at that point, I just got to figure out, how badly do I love it? Like, do I love it so much that I'm going to keep eating it no matter how I feel in that moment? I feel like that burnout thing, it's used as an excuse of you really don't love it as much as you thought you did, and you're realizing that, and that's okay. And just call it that. Don't use that other term. That's kind of
Yeah,
how I feel.
it can't be a crutch. And also it's the one thing like we talk about a ton, especially in the early practices here, is like, hey guys, like don't get me wrong, like it's supposed to be fun. Like it's supposed to be enjoyable, all that stuff. But doing the things that winning requires, it's not a ton of fun. Winning is fun. Like winning's a ton of fun, but like doing the things that winning requires, not a ton of fun. Like it's not a ton of fun. And then you'll get used to it and all of a sudden it'll be better and just like you get used to anything, but when you're first starting to carve out those habits and those standards, like, it's gonna make you question of just like, this is not super enjoyable." And it's just like, "No, it's not." Like, but you guys said you wanted to win. Like, do you wanna win or do you not wanna win?
I think you're talking about, like, creating that new normal. Like,
Yeah.
normal for us is we do the things that is required to win. At Midway, normal for us is we get there at 6 AM for an open gym where you're not just sitting there on your phone, you're training, you're doing things, you have a plan, and I had a whole PowerPoint about how they can build the workout because I realized after 4 weeks of open gym, they don't know what to do when they're here, or only a select few do. And then we're gonna lift 4 days a week where they only, used to lift a couple times, and then we're gonna have skills in the athletic period, and that's 4 days a week, Friday being a little different. Guys, this is the new normal. I think they're at that point right now where maybe that's wearing on them a little bit. I don't know if it's bad if I acknowledge that. Like, if I actually bring them in and say, "How are you guys doing with the amount of work that you've been putting in? How's it making you feel?" Like, and I don't know, what are your thoughts on just kinda creating that conversation to see where they're at?
It's tough. I feel like it's tough to create those conversations without it seeming as if you are attacking people, because, like, the only way I can think because we talk about the same stuff of, hey, if you're just not feeling it today, like, you're just not feeling, weights and, it is like whatever, and you're starting to question, like, man, if this is what being a part of a college roster is, maybe I don't want to, like, play college basketball, then you shouldn't be here. But you can't do that without it, like,
You
being,
don't wanna just, like, push them
yeah.
across the push.
So, I don't know, it's hard
Yeah.
to come up with how to talk about it without it being more of, like, you don't wanna attack guys, but at the same time, like, hey, like, if you can't muster it up to do it every day,
Yeah.
like, it might just not be for you, and that's okay.
I think acknowledging though that it's human after doing things at a high level for a certain amount of time to have those feelings of that, man, this is a lot, or I don't know if I can do it another day. Especially maybe at the high school level. Like, I'm okay with them acknowledging that. Now, let's go back to what our standards are. And one of our standards is toughness. And we talked about toughness is choosing to show up a certain way every day and choosing sometimes that feel isn't real. Yeah, you may feel this way, but man, I'm going to choose to still do the next best action, that NBA. Maybe that's kind of a way, but I want to go back to something you said with the practice that you had where they were loose for the first 20. What did you do to make kind of turn that to where, like, all of a sudden we're loose, we're having music, to now we're getting more serious, or that time has changed? What was that transition like?
So for us, it flowed well into what we wanted to emphasize. And so, like, we would do, some pre-practice if they want to get work in, the music's going, whatever. 10 minutes before we start, we do our organized team stretch, the music's still playing, guys are singing along, like, whatever that may be. Then when we actually started organized stuff, it was more of a, we call it perfect passing, like a lot of passing, ball handling with some of our offensive concepts mixed in there. And then from there, we'd go to something like semi-live, like a transition drill. I mean, bigs might be on the side getting some work in with an assistant while we're doing getting up and down. It's like 4v2, something more semi-live. And I would have to really work on it with myself to not stop it and, like, blow it dead because somebody did something wrong and, like, get mad about it. It's just like, no, like, we're getting loose, like, it is whatever. Then when we got to our third daily vitamin thing, that because we do the same three things pretty much every single day, and it's just things that are important to us. Because I'm a big what you water grows type of thing. Like, if you want to be good at it, you need to work on it every single day, or else don't expect to be good at it. And once we got to our third thing, which is one of our main defensive drills, music stops. We're all on one end. With everything we just did, it was kind of split up. There's guys on each hoop getting work in, whatever. When we got to that first defensive segment, music's off, everybody's on one end, one drill going on, and it's now like, hey, since we're doing defense, it's complete, locked in. And it really helped feed into, like, hey, like, Other things we like might be a little looser. When we talk about defending our goal, it's no like music's off. Like we're locked in on that. And it actually helped. So I guess the answer is we just did it. Like we just music off and we're doing something, but it helped because it was just like it put even more emphasis on, hey, when we're talking about what we do, like we defend, everybody's locked in on it.
I like that. That makes a lot of sense to me the way you structured it. And I've always wondered, is there a better way to get them, like you kind of use the word flow, to get them in their flow? I think I'm guilty of, hey guys, class is over at 4:05, 4:15, we're going. Like practice is starting and you better be full speed. Like obviously a little warm up, but like mentally ready to go. What if I gave them a little bit more time and but to kind of find their flow, work whatever was going on in the day out, get excited again about what they're about to do, talk with each other. I'm already not a big fan of, I don't think you have to do movement prep silent. I think they can talk to each other.
Yeah.
I think the ability, like you and I could probably have a talk and then go coach a game. We don't need that much time of visualization and silence and getting in the zone. But I think something to where we could also get some touches in that time and have some conversations with players that aren't about something specific, but just more of that. How's your day? Get those touches like you talked about. Maybe in that first 20 minutes, not that it's just a free for all, but is a time where we could do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I originally got the idea from the Boston University coach. I forgot his name. I think he's still there. He gave a presentation at a TABC like 2 years ago, and he said something they do to try to like let their guys kind of work out the stress of the day. And it's easier when you have the gym space is only yours and you got 7 assistants or whatever. But they always had 2 or 3 assistants on the court 40 minutes before, 40 minutes after. Like 40 minutes before, 40 minutes after. And they may want you to work on those 40 minutes before, 40 minutes after. You can have a coach help you work on what you think you need to work on. Like if I think you're not good enough to shoot, a floater in the lane, but you want to work on it, that early 40 is for you to work on it with a coach if you want to work on it. And he said that they do that to just let the guys like slowly work their way into practice. And at the same time, you're kind of, coaxing guys into getting extra work in. We try to do that. It's harder because we're normally going right after another team or something like that. But we've tried
Yeah.
to implement some stuff like that. But I like kind of what you said of letting them work the day out.
Think that's a good nugget too you just shared, which is take something from another coach and maybe it all doesn't fit, but there's parts of it that fit. And I was able to being down here in Waco, able to go to a Baylor men's practice in July, and they were getting ready to go further out of the country trip. And I kind of made a note in my notes about what Coach Drew's role was. He was the CEO of that practice. He was constantly walking around. He was independent of any of the drills going on, and he would give a nugget, check his notes, check it like this. And then but then I thought, man, I think that's such a great idea. But then I started doing the math, coach, and I realized, okay, they got 8 baskets, right? And they've got 7 coaches and 9 GAs. And like the court was just full of people. It was incredibly organized. But I liked the thought of him. And so I thought, okay, with even 2 assistants, what if I did structure things in a way to where they were more in charge of these 2 things underneath my supervision, but I was more floating and not just locked into one group. But just to go back to your point of what you heard from that coach, which is that's a great nugget. Take what we learn from other guys. It doesn't have to be this exactly, but see how it works with you and your team and your gym.
Oh yeah, everything I do is just thievery. Like I've just stolen everything. No, I'm convinced I have no original ideas whatsoever.
I think my players are my here's the sad thing. So I love my 2 assistant coaches and that I have. They're younger guys right now, and they love the culture we're building and everything. And I think they believe I'm really smart. I think they think that what man, can you believe all the stuff he does and what we're saying? I'm like, I didn't make up any of this, fellas.
Yeah.
Like this is all borrowed. So you talked a little bit about your defensive guy. So style wise, you're going from one school to the other. does that style translate? Did you carry it over? What's your favorite style to teach?
Yeah, I mean, I hope it translates. We're certainly not going to change what we're doing. Like, I'm a defensive guy. It's just defense and rebounding has just become the only thing I care about at the end of the day. And it really
Coach, you and I couldn't be more opposite then. It's fun that we get to have this talk, and I feel like we have a good relationship, but we are on exact opposite sides of that. But keep going.
No, I mean, and it's good because my assistant coach, like my lead assistant, he's a big offensive guy. Like he likes
Nice.
offense, and like we've joked around about it because he says, and he means I'd rather win a game, 102 to 101 than 59 to 58 because it's his scoring's fun. Like offense is more fun. Like let's go do that. And for me, it honestly stems back to my first year as a head coach. We got just blasted by people. Like we just got blown out, and I felt like we just got physically manhandled all the time. And I felt like we controlled no aspect of the game. Like not only we scored it fine, like we scored it pretty well, but we couldn't rebound, we couldn't defend. We were physically outmatched every single game, it felt like. And it was almost that feeling of like, man, we control nothing. We control nothing.
It's a tough feeling.
That when we went into year 2, we completely flipped. Like my first year, we were like kind of traditional pack line with some like hard hedging stuff and just really traditional in the gaps, like all that stuff. And we changed to a much more aggressive pressure of like, hey, if they're going to beat us, like we're going to make them beat us from areas we are okay with them beating us from. And
Wow.
if they're going to beat us, like, let's make it just tough. And we didn't get that much better from my first year to my second year in terms of wins. But our like point differential and our statistics, we just got exponentially better. And we became the team that the last week of the season, we were knocked out of playoff contention. But the two teams that were playing us, I remember having conversations with both of them of just like, man, I hate that we have to play you guys last week because like I don't want any of my guys to get hurt before playoffs. And I was just like, yeah, right on. Like, act good. Like, I'm glad that
That's right.
we've got something. And like, we weren't going to
Yeah.
have, at my last school, like, we struggled to get a ton of talent. We weren't going to be the most talented group, but we were going to control what we could. And like, you can't control shots are going in all the time, but like, you can control if you defend and rebound. Like, that's a physical choice to make. And so I think it came down to like that first year. And then me being a little bit of a control freak, like all coaches are, of just like, hey, like I can draw up a perfect play and I can't control if he makes the shot or not. But like we can control if we've drilled it into their heads to be where they need to be defensively and be physical and recruit the right types of dudes to crash the offensive glass and stuff like that. So like we still try to play fast, and offensively we still put a lot of time in offensively, but it's exponentially more that we work on our defense and stuff like that.
What do you think time-wise in a practice? What does that split look like?
Early in the season, it's like 80-20,
Wow.
which is terrible. Like it shouldn't be that much. Like we need to work on
It's
offense.
not terrible. It's not terrible,
We
but
need
it's
to work on offense more. And
yeah.
last year we had a lot of success. We couldn't score. Like we couldn't score.
Yeah, but
We won a ton of games
Coach,
in the
I'll push
50s.
back on that just for a second. I'll push back on that. I think while you're doing that, the defensive work, I mean, there's an offensive team out there. Like they have the ball in their hands. I mean, they are having to work against pretty incredible defense for a long period of time. But anyway, keep going.
No, you're right. And it's just, I laugh about it because like we won a ton of games, like 50-50 or something like that. And we lost a ton of games, like 66-64. And I'm just like, fellas, we're a college basketball team. If we can't score 70, like
With a shot clock. We got a shot clock.
we can't score
Yeah.
70, fellas, like what are we doing? And then I go back and I look at the practice plans and I'm like, well, golly, like we did work on defense for an hour and
You,
40
you
minutes.
get
the
what
other
you
day.
emphasize a little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a little give and take, but no, style wise, like we're going to defend, we're going to rebound. I mean, we were 6th in the country last year in offensive rebounds per game. And it's just
Wow.
like, we emphasize it a ton, like defending and it's into how we recruit too. Like it starts there. And my assistant's doing an awesome job. My lead assistant, who's pretty much our recruiting coordinator, he knows like who to bring to me, because the first question he's getting is like, well, who's he gonna guard? Like, is he gonna be able to do what we do? Like, is he tough enough? Can he switch onto the 5 in front and like, can he do that stuff? And if the answer is even like, well, maybe, like, I can't, like, we can't have him. Like, he's got to be able to do it. And so he's learned what we're looking for and stuff like that. But I like offense. Like, offense is cool, but yeah, I don't know, something about it. I'm all in on defense, rebounding, and we've had success with it. So hopefully we keep having success with it.
I think a superpower that you have is just knowing who you are and knowing what you like and what you want to coach and what you want to emphasize. I think anytime that you play a team and after that game, you're thinking, what were they trying to do? Like, what were they really about? What was their identity? I think if there isn't one or it's not clear, then that has to be go right back to the leader, the person in charge. So you definitely have that. I was thinking about I love the idea of forcing them. If they're going to score, it's going to be on our terms. And Mark Cassio in his no middle pressure defense talked about we want them to score in our time at our spots and then with the shots that we want. So like our time, our spots, our shots. And I thought that really simplified it for me. We want them to shoot quick in the possession or try to score quick. We want it to be in the outer thirds, and then we want it to be that mid-range or contested jump shot. But what are some of those, if you don't mind sharing, some of those goals that you have in your defensive possessions?
No, ours are consistent. So I mean, what we do is pretty much like a hybrid of what Baylor did when they won the national championship, and then what
Yeah.
Houston kind of still does with the kind of up on the line a little bit and just taking options away from people. So
Yeah.
we're not hard, no middle, like siding the ball, only because I found that either we didn't have good enough athletes to do it or I didn't teach it well enough. But if just those snaking the ball back into the middle, we really struggled. So we try to almost be, we're no middle, but not quite that extreme until you get kind of below the break. Like if you get below the break, then we can kind of really side the ball. But other than that, like we just try to be like no middle without it being too extreme, kind of on that outside, like top shoulder. And then we try to funnel the ball into that lower third. And we've just got some designated like landmarks for our guys of when it passes this point, we're going to go trap it. And like
Mm.
kind of like no middle, except for when the ball gets picked up, we don't leave. Like we want to maintain the trap and almost make people skip it and one more it. And it was all based on, so when I was an assistant, Travis Carruthers was my head coach at Ozarks actually. And I remember we were about to play Mary Hardin Baylor. And Mary Hardin Baylor ran some extreme no middle stuff because like Cliff Carroll was there, and I know he was with Bobby Knight and stuff like that. So they ran some real hardcore no middle. And I remember my boss at the time was frustrated because he was like, "It's just simple, man. All you gotta do is like drive it and then kick one more wide open threes." And all it is like they're just betting that we can't do that enough to beat them. And I remember, like, can we do it enough to beat them? He's like, well, probably not. And I was just like, well, I mean, shoot, man, that's a good bet. And like, so we started looking into a little bit more of the no middle stuff. And then Baylor had so much success with like their no middle, but switching a lot and stuff like that. So we kind of molded it together to kind of figure out what we wanted to do with it. But so that's what we do is we trap and then we try to scramble on the backside and force another pass. Like always just force them to make another pass. Just keep making them make another pass, and eventually it'll find a non-shooter or and also just speeding guys up. Like we got a ton of turnovers the last 2 years on like step outs, like guys stepping out of bounds, guys traveling, because in theory it's super easy. Like you pick it up, you got two on you, skip it, one more. But when you're trying to do that and you got big athletes in your face with active hands, and then you've got another guy trying to scramble on the backside and get a steal, and then you've got another guy scrambling back, like let's make them do that stuff. Because when you draw it up on a board and you look at it, it's like, well, shoot, that guy in the wing is wide open. It's like, yeah, he is, but like they have to make the pass, and they have to make the pass on time, on target, and they got to make the shot.
It's probably outside of their offensive framework. If they're continuity based and they're not used to playing out of an advantage where you get dominoes going and that ball is just we all know what the rules are and where each other's going to be. You're getting them to do something that maybe they don't spend. Think about your 80-20. Well, if your 20% isn't spent on out of an advantage moving it reads and making the ball continue to work, that's foreign. And so you get to put them in that spot. I love that.
Yeah, and the big thing for me is trying to tell guys that we're okay with it. Like letting them know. Like I gave a presentation to our guys on our defense, and there's a lot of clips where I'm clapping before the shot goes off from the other team, because if it goes in, like, we're fine with it. Like they did
Yep.
a great job. They drove it. They pivoted. They kick one more. We made them drive it again. Kick one more wide open three. Good for them. That's good basketball. Like, good stuff. They they
Let's go.
cannot do
Yeah.
that for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And if they
Yeah.
can, they deserve to beat us. Like, good for them. But it was also just trying to make people abandon their script. Like, I don't want people
Yeah.
scoring how they want to. Like, if they're gonna go and make a play, great. But like, that's where the switching kind of comes in. Like, we switch 1 through 5 pretty much exclusively with everything we do. And it's to be aggressive and try to make people not run what they want to run. And then off the ball switching up and denying pretty much everything.
I love all those concepts. Defensively, even though I am an offensive guy, I think that's kind of how we want to play. That you know what I just kind of made an, a note of is the no middle. The thing that sucks about it is when the ball gets in the middle, and I say that because I liked your idea of we wanna be high, but not too high. I think the moment and this is bad teaching on my part, the moment that we got the ball in the outer third, and sometimes offenses do that for us. They're more than willing just to dribble it down outside of that middle third, the lane line, and move even outside the volleyball line if you have those lines, and so but once we get there, I thought we were getting too high and almost on their hip to where there's just a straight line between that ball handler and there and when your goalie has to guard it not in the outer third, but in the middle third, man, your rotations and what you like your trigger and what you know is gonna be next, it's kinda out the window. I gotta figure out a better way to keep it on the side and no middle, but not allow like, not get too high where it's straight line and we're behind.
Yeah. It's hard, it's tough. Like, it's hard, and it's like, we try to talk to our guys about, like, "Hey, we give you the advantage because we know that we're pushing it down towards the baseline. So, your positioning is not letting it go middle, which means that you can almost load up to them driving baseline and keep the ball out of the middle third by just running with it, because you know you don't have to guard the middle because your foot angles are taking the middle away. But it's a learned response. Like, they got to work on it a ton, and even then, it's not perfect. And I think the nature of it is because you're basically inviting rotations. Like, you're okay with going into rotations, and with that, it's just going to be hectic and it's not going to be perfect. So you have to, like, almost talk to guys about, hey, it's not going to be perfect all the time. There's going to be some weird formation that they end up getting in, and we got to fly around. But the harder you work, the luckier you get. Like, you gotta fly around on the backside and just try to make some plays.
That nugget right there, the harder you work, the luckier you get. That's good.
Yeah, you gotta fly around. Like, that's our biggest thing, is, like, it's not gonna be perfect, but, like, the great effort will erase our mistakes. Like, you have to fly around. And me, I've struggled with that,
Go
accepting it.
ahead.
I've struggled with just accepting, like, I wanna stop it. Like, "Hey, you were supposed to take here, you were supposed to take there." And you can do that, and then also tell them, "Hey, but, like, great stuff. Great work."
Yeah. And it's hard too, I think, as a coach of some possessions, there's not a right or wrong answer to it. There's possibilities where, like, either one of you could have done that. I just need one of you to commit and take it, and then we'll rotate and move off of it. But like, I found myself a few times them asking questions of like, "Well, coach, who should have taken that?" Man, guys, I think they're both pretty good. I think maybe you're a little bit closer, but this or that. But I think kind of like for you, or like you said, with being okay with them moving it and sometimes getting that shot that it that you it could be harder. I think me not having answers to everything because it's unscripted on that backside. It's them just busting it and trying to, like you said, make the ball keep moving, take away open sevens or open jump shots for us. I like that. Not sure if what I said just made sense.
No, it made sense. I ran into the same thing of, well, whose is that? Who do you want to take that? I want one of our guys to take it. Somebody take it.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, coach.
Oh, like
Yeah.
in our colored jersey go fly at the ball. And what we talk about is we try to reward it because we'll have it early in the season. It will happen. It happens every year, once or twice. Two guys will fly at the same guy. And I like to clip it and just like, hey, that's awesome. Like, that's great stuff.
Wow.
Like, that
Okay.
is great
Yeah.
stuff. Hey, we got two dudes who want to stop that ball. Like, I love it. Same thing if they're just kind of stand and watch because they assume the other guy, it's like I'll freak out about that. Of just like, so neither one of you guys want to play defense. That's where we're at. Like, so it's almost just emphasizing like, hey, if I at least just fly in that direction, coach is gonna be cool with it. Like, so just trying to emphasize like, the ball gets skipped, you need to fly in the direction of help, and then hopefully you'll be able to be a basketball player and see like, okay, he's there, I'll push or whatever it may be. But the only wrong answer is to like watch. Like you got to go, like go do something. And it'll happen early in the season. We'll try to praise it. But then the thing that we'll kind of get onto the most is just like what are you doing? Like it's 5 against the ball. Like we try to avoid saying like you're on your own. Like I know a lot of guys say that in like ball screen coverage. Like, hey, no, you're by yourself. It's like we try to never say it, and it's silly, but we try to never say it because no, he's not. It's 5 against the ball at all times. It's a team defense. So like if you're not moving, like it's not team defense anymore.
Ball's in the outer third and offensive player in the corner. Are you all out deny or are you opened up right there? Like one pass away, what are you doing?
We take the corner away at all times.
Yeah.
Yeah, on that like same side drive. What I would say like a
So no
strong
sucker
side drive.
help, no joust, stay, make sure he doesn't get a
If it's a
catch.
complete non-shooter, we'll talk about like you can show a little and get back.
Yeah. Yeah.
We just believe that statistically that one pass away pitch and catch three is
Burns me up.
if you look at
Yeah.
the points per possession, like that is just such a high efficiency shot that we actually try to tell our guys, hey, not only are we taking that away, we're taking it away and we're handsy when we do it because teams will they'll still try to throw it because it's such a good look and people work on it so much. We'll get
Driving kick.
we'll get
Yeah, that's
steals
it. Yeah.
by just staying. And it's the same thing for us if the ball does go middle. Like if somebody closes out incorrectly and the ball gets driven middle and it turns into like they cross the midline, those guys who just got put on the strong side now, we're sticking. Like we stick. We're not giving up what we call spray threes. Like we're not giving those up. What's going to happen is that guy who just didn't do his job and got beat middle, you better turn and sprint and get back in front. And now you're playing one-on-one. Get to the rim, reach for the lights, try to make them finish over you, and we'll take that over a spray 3 to the corner.
One of the most unique things I saw last year with one of our district rivals was because we try to, I mean, everybody that's open from three is allowed to shoot it, and we shoot a pretty high volume. And so for the first time, I noticed that when we're getting to the world or the paint, no one's helping. They're all staying. And we didn't have a lot of just like if the ball gets to the nail, baseline guy back cut. We just didn't have that because typically when the ball gets that deep, help comes. Good defenses say you got to help. And so that's when we move it or spray it. And they were just staying. And you know what? And so I told the guys, when you Brunson, you got to go score. Help's not coming. The advantage is you one-on-one, and we couldn't do it. They beat us by not helping at all. The second time we played, we had one of our better playmakers, a big guy that can handle it, move it, score 37 on them, and we didn't hit a three the whole game, but we won in a different way. But I like that idea that what that other team did to us is we know that they want to drive, pull a guy in, and kick for a shot or one more. We're just not going to help. And that was completely unique, but it made me think like, I want to disrupt that way too.
For me, it's all numbers driven in terms of if you push the ball towards the short corner like no middle, and you trap it there, or even if you don't trap it there, that is a tough spot to pass from because your options are pretty far away. The backboard, the rim, it's all in your way. Like it's just a tough angle to pass from. So it's like, yeah, we're gonna bring help and we're gonna trap and we're gonna overemphasize our advantage there. However, if you drive the ball middle, that's a great place to pass from. You can see everything, like it's an easy passing angle. So same thing, it's a drive, but we're not bringing help because we don't have an advantage. When they drive baseline, same thing, it's a drive, but we have an advantage in a defensive mindset. When they drive middle, like we don't have the advantage. So stick and let's turn this into a one-on-one game. Let's make them take like a 0.8 point per possession, like tough two in comparison to like a 1.2 point per possession catch and shoot three.
It does get downhill towards the middle, and goalie or somebody that your backside comes up to help on it. Do you peel switch off and find another guy, or hope just to slow him down? Defensive player gets back in front.
We haven't gotten to the point where I want to peel switch that, only because it kind of bleeds into the rest of our rotations of guys wanting to peel
Okay.
out and switch it. For us, like the help would come from exactly where you said, and then we just try to put the other guy in kind of a goalie stance, looking at the ball and trying to make a play on the ball. When we first started to run the defense, the way we do it, I thought cutters would really hurt us. But what we found was in the positions that cutters would normally hurt us, if they cut, they're cutting to just bodies. Like they're cutting into just like, well, the ball,
Those other two on the
yeah,
backside are just really tight and close.
yeah, like the ball is
Yeah.
there, and then we got two on the ball, then we got a guy who dropped to take away the big or something like that. And it's like you're cutting just to nothing. And
Yep.
most teams, they'd rather try to space out shooters for
Yeah.
that skip and one more. And it's like, all right, make
Yeah.
the skip because again, it just goes into the little things. Like we're not going to let you make a perfect pass out of that double. It's going to have to be a lob. And then we've got time to recover and all that stuff. But I was really nervous about cutters and stuff like that. In a situation like that, it hasn't hurt us as much as I thought it would. It still does, but not as much.
Which I want to congratulate you on the most defensive-minded talk I've ever had
Oh, heck
in
yeah.
5 years. This is it. This is it.
I'll talk defense all the live long day.
But I liked it though. No, I really enjoyed it. But Coach, before I let you go, the speed round. These are going to be quick questions. First thing that pops in your head, just blurt it out. Ready?
Right on.
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Oh, cookies and cream.
It's a good one. It's a good one. Greatest shooter of all time?
I mean, it's hard to not say Steph. Probably Steph Curry. I'm a big Reggie Miller guy. Like I thought Reggie
Oh
Miller
yeah.
could
I
just
mean, he's
flat
on the
out
Mount
shoot.
Rushmore of shooters for sure.
Probably
Yeah.
Steph. It's probably Steph.
Yeah. Do you stand up or sit down more in games?
I stand up more, but I will say the more I coach, the more I sit. I never sat my first like 2 years. Now I sit a ton.
I felt like it looked like I was quitting on them or I wasn't giving them my best,
Yep.
but I'm trying to sit more.
Yep. No, I sit. I've sat more and more every year.
What Tyler Costin talked about, do you want to play status games or winning games? And I thought, I like that, the way of looking at that. Like, why am I doing everything I'm doing? Is there any part of it that's just for status, for show? Or maybe I do, maybe not that coaches that stand the whole time, it's for show. No, but asking yourself why you're doing it. And I think early on it was I want them to know I'm in it. But you know what? Like Popovich, man, watch him in a game. Dude looks like he's almost napping over there. Like at most of the time, he was very chill for the most part on the sideline. And part of the deal is like you do your coaching in practice, you prepare them there, and then there's a point when they're going to take it, they're going to own it in the game. I'm not there fully, but I think I'm 50-50 now.
I buy into it, like the haze in the barn kind of. Like it's like you've done all your work. Hey, nothing you're yelling in the middle of a possession is going to make that much of a difference. But
Yeah.
except for maybe if I get like a play call or something like that I hear from an opponent. But the big thing for me standing up is like I think I'm a pacer. Like I pace. Like, I go up and down and I'm nervous. I'm nervous. Like, I'm not afraid to admit it. Like, players like my guys will ask me, like, "Coach, like, are you nervous?" Absolutely, I am. I'm extremely nervous. Like, I'm not gonna be like, "No, I'm
Yeah.
good, just another day."
You
Like,
care. Yeah.
I'm nervous,
I always
man.
tell them if you're nervous, that means you care. Like,
Yeah.
don't be afraid of that. Don't be mad about that. Top 3 dinner guests, any time period.
Top 3 dinner guests. That's brutal.
Any time period and outside of sports too.
Well,
Good one.
Pop,
Gordon.
JFK, John Gordon.
I just thought
That's a good
I
one.
thought you'd put John Gordon in there. Yeah.
His too, so, like, you win the locker room first, awesome
Yeah.
book, but then, I mean, the book I read every year, before the season starts is The Culture Code by John Gordon. It's fantastic. Like, it changed the way I, like, not even to gas it up too much, like, it changed the way I look at just trying to, like, lead a group.
I gotta check that one out. I like training camp. I thought that was a good one for not just coaches, but also how we deal with players and their journey.
I know everybody
I
raves
had a
about
kid
the Energy
good.
Bus. Like, I
Yeah.
haven't read that one.
No, I haven't either, and I feel like we should. You know what I've always wanted, and if my wife hears this, maybe I'll get is the box set of all the John
John
Gordons.
Gordon,
Like, like that'd be a pretty good Christmas gift right there. Best basketball movie of all time.
Coach Carter.
Nice.
Not even close.
Delilah. What were his presses? Delilah.
I
It was
forgot.
all the women in his life.
That's such a good that's a fantastic
It is.
movie.
It is. It is. For high school, shot clock or no shot clock.
Oh, shot clock. Need a shot clock.
Hard to watch high school games since you've been, coaching with it or
I mean, so I wasn't used to it because in New York, everybody's got a
Yeah.
shot clock. Like, every level has a shot clock, and I got down here, and I went and I think my first year in Arkansas was the first year they introduced 5A and they had it, but nobody else did, and I went to recruit this big kid from some little town somewhere. I mean, they're just holding it, and run a set. Didn't get the look. All right, set it up. All right, now we're gonna go Kansas. All right, boom, run it. Not there. All right, hey, all right. Hey, let's go Kentucky. Next one. And I'm just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? I couldn't believe it, and honestly, just me not knowing, I didn't even realize it was a thing. I was just like, no, basketball has a shot clock. Not everywhere.
in Texas, there's good basketball here in the Dallas and Houston, San Antonio. Hopefully, in Waco, we're getting good basketball. But yeah, it needs one. Do players sit the rest of the first half with 2 fouls?
Ooh, I used to be a yeah, but I'm starting to be a no, just because of the numbers coming out on it.
Nate Oates. Nate Oates said why. I mean, they're going to foul when they're going to foul.
Yep. I'm starting to be more and more of a no guy on that.
Favorite holiday?
That's tough. I like Thanksgiving.
Good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You've mentioned a lot of great books. And what book would you give someone
Oh, The Culture Code.
if you had to narrow it to one? Culture Code.
Love
Okay.
I mean, that's such a good book.
Is that different from, I'm going to try to whip around here without tearing something on the talent code? That's what I was thinking when you said that.
I've heard of
The
that.
talent code's cool because it's by Daniel Coyle, but it's cool. It talks about these centers around or little communities around the world where amazing amounts of talent have come out. And what's the combination? And so much of it is the environment they're in and how they train. Like there's this town, and I'm gonna butcher the country, but let's just say it's in South America. There's one town where so many soccer stars have come from, and they went to this town to figure out like why where's this talent? Why is it a hotbed for talent? And it turns out that they were playing 4-on-4 futsal, indoor soccer, small environment, and just increasing their skill tons by that small sided game almost. And all across the world where like music stars come from the same place. And it's it's really cool to see. But I thought that's what it was at first when you said culture code, but then now talent code.
So it's funny you say that because when you said Daniel Coyle, it made me think of it. So the Culture Code is Daniel Coyle as well. So it's not.
They did it together.
I thought it was no. I was just wrong.
Oh.
No, John Gordon. It's just it's called the Culture Code: The Secrets of Highly Successful Groups. Yeah, Daniel Coyle.
Okay, well then he has another one called
The
the
Talent
talent code. And it's greatness isn't born, it's grown, and here's how. So he's kind of I mean, culture code, talent code. He's hitting it all
He's
with
got his
those two.
niche.
But it's a good book.
Yeah.
It's a good book. Yeah. Um, favorite place to travel?
Shoot, I haven't traveled a ton. You know where I went the Oregon coast. I went to the Oregon coast.
Is that nice?
Oh, it's awesome. It was awesome.
Wow.
I went this summer. Where did I go? I forgot what it's called, but it's the Oregon coast. And I mean, like, I've only ever been to a place that has like, mountains and forests or like a beach. The
Yeah.
Oregon coast is wild. It's got both. Like, I took a video of it because I was just blown away of like, it looked like I was in Fiji. And then I turned and it's like you're in like Yosemite National Forest. Like it was gorgeous.
I've never been. That's I'll have to talk to my wife about it. Last one. In basketball as a player, who's the GOAT?
I mean, I think it's hard to go anywhere but Jordan. Like, it's hard to go anywhere but
I
Jordan.
agree.
Like,
I
Jordan's not my
agree.
favorite. Like, my favorite player is Dwayne Wade or Reggie Miller.
Now, different question, coach. Different question. I'll go there with you.
Yeah.
Okay, so if he's the GOAT, who's your favorite player?
I think it's Dwayne Wade, I think.
Yeah,
It's gotta be D
yeah.
Wade or Reggie Miller. I love me some Reggie Miller. Yeah, Jordan's the GOAT.
Yeah. Yeah. But I love that question though. I think the GOAT, a lot of people go favorite player. And I'm like, no, that's not the question. But yeah, the favorite player one, I mean, for me it was Pistol Pete, even though I never met him. I mean, he was just a guy that skill wise really changed me. And then Steve Wojciechowski from
Yeah.
Duke. And the reason is I was a younger kid at that time, loved Duke, and thought if that dude can do it, I've got a shot. Now, didn't work out.
When I was first getting into, like, I was not a good college player, and look, like, I was fine. I was a backup center on a below average team, and when I look at an NBA player who I was like, you know what? Like, if there was somebody out there who's like, that's my game right there, it's just like nitty-gritty Udonis Haslem of just like, he can make you pay out there with those 15-footers, but like
That's right.
he's just not that good. Like, but he's tough. But he's a tough guy and he's a
But
culture
he's
guy,
tough.
but he's just not that good. But
That
no, that I liked me some UD.
you know, well, coach, this was really enjoyable, man. I love getting to learn more about you and have a defensive talk. It was refreshing because it's just not what I do very often. But man, I just really appreciate your time.
For sure. No, I appreciate you you reached out and connecting to me. This was enjoyable. Well, I don't think we're in Waco at all this year, but we play at Southwestern in Georgetown. I can't be far.
No, it's not. And I love that campus. I love to I'll try to catch you guys out. And that's one of the things I love about doing this is just building the relationships. It's really nice when, we're both in Texas. And if anybody had questions about more about your system and style of play, but I also thought your standards, ideas and things were really good or how you build culture. What is a good way for them to reach out to you?
Yeah, email. What's my email?
You can find it online. I know you can
Yeah,
find it
find
online.
it
So
online.
yeah.
I think it's my last name dot my first name or something like that. I haven't been here long enough to have
We're
it
new.
memorized.
We're new, coach.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're new. Yeah.
but no, that'd be the best way.
Awesome. Man, thank you so much. This was great.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.